Hello and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham, and this is...
I'm Laraine Durham.
And this is our ongoing series, the Downsized Dish, where we talk to people who are in the GLP-1 world, who have either begun taking the medications or had success with them. We learn a little bit from them, or we hear their stories. Everybody wants to see somebody like them. We always, of course, have to give you the caveat of we're not doctors. Sabina, our guest, is not a doctor. So please, please, please talk to your doctor and get a personalized plan for your health care. This is just our experiences, right? So although it may be informative, it is not medical advice. And if you would, please take a moment to like and subscribe. And let us tell you a little bit about ourselves before we jump in. I've lost 104 pounds using GLP-1s, and you have?
I've lost over 50 pounds using compounded Tirzepatide.
All right. So this is our opportunity to learn from this fabulous young lady, Sabina. So Sabina, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I have mostly done TikTok content, and that's how we met, through the creator kind of network. But I also make a tool called GLP Winner, which is a website where people can compare providers. When we talk to patients, what we found was most people, there was a lag time from when they decided mentally, okay, I'm interested in the medication, or I'm ready to take the medication, until when they actually got it. And often that was 6 to 12 months. And what was happening during that time period, they were like, will my PCP give it? Can my insurance cover it? And then if you try to shop around with all the telehealth options, what ends up happening is that you will have to fill out a form, like a 10-minute form for every single one. It will ask for like your name, your email, your phone number, just so that you can often see a price, because it's just not so transparent. So what GLP Winner tries to do is we try to make that transparent. We show you all-in pricing. It's not a weird, with the coupon, it's $100, but then it's actually $300. We show you the actual price. We help you compare with reviews, and then we try to show you, if it's compounded, where they're sourcing it from. We also support name brand. We have a calculator. If you're paying for a name brand, there's manufacturer's coupons, there's Lilly Direct. We try to help people find the lowest price for name brand if they can as well.
Which is very cool.
That would have been so helpful when we started.
I know. Well, what happened to me was I was getting compounded medication, and I think this is a while ago. I think I was paying like $550 a month. And then my provider, which was like an in-person OBGYN that I was seeing, changed compounding pharmacies. And then the price went up to $850. And I was like, wow, that's literally the most you could charge me at that point before I would go, to the name brand medication paying like full $1,000.
Right.
And I called up my old compounding pharmacy that I was using, Empower, and I was like, hey, do you know some doctors in Austin? Because I live in Austin. And I was like, do you know some doctors in Austin that are prescribing this? Like, I love your product and I want to stay with Empower. And they're like, hey, that's not how it works.
Oh,
why doesn't it how it works, right? Like,
why not?
Yeah, why not? Like, and so that was kind of the inspiration for starting it. And I had a couple of months where I was overpaying because I kind of was like, I need to shop around. And then it was just so painful that I was like, it doesn't have to be this painful. So that was the inspiration.
Well, so tell us a little bit about Sabina, and we'll walk through the journey of getting to GLP Winner as well. So you said you live in Austin. You're pretty young for our viewers. Talk to us.
I'm 39. Yeah, I'm 39. And I am a weird entrepreneur at this point, right? So I started this tool, which I'm hoping is a company, like roughly a year ago. Mm-hmm. And before that, 13 years ago, I started a company in video games. We do data analytics for video games. So you think like high traffic esports games where they're playing super competitively online and there's a high level of complexity that generates a bunch of data. We take that data and we get competitive insights for people. And then we also, so we did a bunch of sites for a bunch of esports titles. And then we also bought a website, speedrun.com, which is like, if you've heard of speedrunning, it's like replaying an old game like Super Mario Brothers, trying to get the fastest completion time. Uh-huh. And so speedrun.com is the leaderboards for, 99% of games.
I bet my son has heard of this. I have a 27-year-old son who loves esports and all the video games. So,
Well, from that, the term speedrunning has entered the vernacular for some people where they're like, oh, I'm going to speedrun weight loss, or I'm going to speedrun this. It's kind of become, I don't know, a term people use sometimes jokingly, sometimes seriously to describe that.
Interesting. Good to know.
Well, so you basically had an entrepreneurial tech background, and at some point in your life, obviously weight loss became an opportunity. To talk to us about how these two things collided.
Well, it's interesting. So I'd worked in games over a decade, and I debated continuing to work in games. And I moved at my last company, I moved to just be on the board. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? But I kept circling around healthcare. And I think a lot of people who start companies in healthcare, they tend to have too much experience in the healthcare system, right? Not in a good way. Like sometimes maybe they work in healthcare. For me, I'm married to someone with chronic illness, and I've had my own health problems that I can talk about in my weight loss journey. Yep. And then one catalyst that happened was I took over care for my dad who has dementia. Right. And so in that whole process, I became responsible for someone else. I was navigating the whole healthcare system. And so the way I felt about it was I got really good at navigating the healthcare system. And it was like, how can I help other people do the same? Mm-hmm. And then with my video game company, basically what we were doing is we have a lot of data that we make understandable to people. And it's kind of the same thing we're doing on GLP Winner, right? It's really hard to navigate and compare these complex plans for compounded medication. And we try to make it as simple as possible. Plus, we are also trying to surface what features providers have. So some people are like, we'll give you nutrition support. And that can mean a variety of things for telehealth providers. Yeah. Sometimes nutrition support means we're going to send you a PDF that's like, eat right. Here's the fit pyramid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know is nutritionists in many states is not regulated. So anyone can call themselves a nutritionist and then start giving, advice on food. Okay. And so we try to distinguish when someone has a dietitian, because a dietitian is someone who has a degree and licensing in, navigating food. So that's the other thing, is trying to standardize what does this feature actually mean when it's included, and how can you actually compare? Sorry.
Okay.
How can you actually compare two providers that are similar? And like, if one's more expensive, maybe you're getting something else with it.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. What are all the features and benefits of each provider?
Exactly. Because some people want more support. For some people, especially if they're in the first 6 months, 12 months of their journey. Mm-hmm. And other people, after a while, they're like, I have this kind of figured out. Yeah. This is just a bill to me. So how can I get a better price? And also some people really, really look at the compounding pharmacy that's used, mm-hmm. and they have loyalty to compounding pharmacies they have good experiences with.
Yeah.
And so that's the priority for them. And we will let you look at the compounding pharmacy and then just see all the providers that use that compounding pharmacy. So
interesting. Well, it gets tricky because it's by state, right? Mm-hmm. So, we live in North Carolina. My telehealth provider uses Empower for our state, but other states, they get Red Rock Pharmacy or, a different one. So can you tell by the state that you live in which one you're going to get? Oh,
yes.
Wow.
You'll see completely different results depending on the state that you're in.
Okay.
And we try our best to check the compounding. We're trying to automate it. We haven't yet. We try to check the compounding pharmacy licensing state by state so that okay, this is licensed in my state. Or we don't show you, sometimes you go on social media and everyone's like, go to this provider. And then you're like, they're not actually in my state, right? I just wasted time going and checking them out, not knowing if they actually serve my state. And we try to surface that so we don't waste your time, right?
Yeah, because the providers are licensed by state as well as the compounding pharmacies, right? That's a good point.
Yeah.
So did you have a weight issue, Sabina? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my journey, I was not an overweight kid, mm-hmm. but I grew up, like one common thing that correlates to obesity is like trauma. And I had an abusive home situation growing up, right? So that was rough. And I actually didn't start gaining the weight until I'd moved out, it was like early 20s, maybe like 19, 20, 21, 22 is when I started gaining the weight. And what was interesting is I heard this was mentioned at the conference that we met at, the Obesity Action Committee conference. Sometimes it's common for people to gain weight almost in like a self-destructive, protective way.
Absolutely.
I consciously did that because part of my childhood abuse involved sexual trauma. And I was like, I want to become invisible. Right? I don't want anyone to like look at me that way.
Yeah, we're putting up that barrier, right?
Yeah, it's like, what can I control? Well, like I can keep eating. And then I had a complicated relationship with food growing up because it was one of the only things I could control sometimes about my life in like a really chaotic household. So I would say, like, for me, my weight loss journey, I'm a yo-yoer, right? It was like I gained a bunch of weight. I took notes. So I gained a bunch of weight in my early 20s. Then I lost it. Most of it, I lost like 40 pounds. Then I gained 60 pounds. And then I lost it. I lost it on keto. And I was like, I think I have life figured out. I was like, first of all, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I've done really hard things. I've built businesses. Losing weight was the hardest thing I ever did.
Yes.
Losing weight without medication, the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yes.
And I lost 60 pounds doing keto. I kept it off for 5 years. And I was like, wow, I kept it off for 5 years. No one does that. I figured it out, you know?
Yep.
And honestly, every single day I was white knuckling life. I was like trying so hard to not regain the weight.
Yeah.
I think I was obnoxious to be around because I could clock how many calories were in anything. And I'd be like, I don't have the calorie budget for that.
Right.
In hindsight, I'm like, that's really weird and annoying for somebody to do that. But I was weird and annoying. Right. And so after 5 years, I stopped. I'd done keto most of that 5 years. I stopped because what I realized was happening was I was destroying my social life. I was not going out with friends. I was alienating myself because I was too scared to go to a restaurant or bar because that would be too much temptation for me to not eat perfectly.
Yeah.
I felt like if I didn't eat perfectly, then it was all going to fall apart.
You really had an all or nothing mentality about it.
Yeah. And so like before, when I was younger and I lost 40 pounds and I didn't quite get down to an ideal weight, it was hard. But for when I lost, I like to call it the old fashioned way without medication. When I lost on keto, it was like, what worked for me about keto was that it was like hard rules, right? So if I follow these hard rules, I will maybe get an outcome. And then, I kept it off. I kept keeping it off for a little while after I stopped doing keto. And then the pandemic happened. I gained 10 pounds, no big deal. Right?
So we all gained 10 pounds. I think I gained more than that.
But you're a rule follower, right? You like something with guidelines.
Maybe, or I'm actually not a rule follower. I think all rules are totally breakable. Just for some reason with my diet, that's what worked.
That's what worked.
Yeah. And then in 2021, that's when my dad got sick. And suddenly, like, he had memory problems, but suddenly he couldn't take care of himself anymore. So I had to suddenly be responsible for someone else. It was a really stressful time in my life. He had a type of dementia that you can help by getting brain surgery. And he lived in a small town in Texas. And so I actually moved to Houston for 6 months to try to get him brain surgery faster and better because Houston has a better medical center. It has like one of the best medical hubs in the United States. And I just wanted to get him the best care. And then during all of that time, that's when I gained the weight back, right? Suddenly, eating healthy was not the most important thing in my life with everything else I had going on.
It wasn't your focus. It couldn't be, right? Yeah.
Yeah, suddenly it was like, well, I'll eat when I can. And I was driving around Texas a bunch, doing all these road trips. And I was like, oh, fast food, right? This is the most convenient thing for me. And I always had the food noise and the obsession. Like, I could tell you what was on the menu of any restaurant in like a 2-mile radius in my house and what the hot new restaurants are. Like, I still kind of do that, but it's just not as important. So I always had that. And what's interesting is I was reflecting on this to prep for this conversation. And even though I was always, I was never overweight as a kid. Maybe like one time I gained like maybe 15 pounds more than I should have. I was like a little chubby, but not actually overweight. What I noticed was my grandmother, who was such a kind soul, she's passed, but she could tell I had obesity intuitively because she would talk to me, and it was in a very loving way. She would be like, "Hey, I know you're a healthy weight, but I'm worried about you around food." And I'm worried. Yeah, she'd be like, "I'm worried when you get older, if you don't figure out how to control this, that you're going to be obese, basically." And she said it in a really loving, non-judgmental way. But I was like, wow, the adult in the room, even when I was a kid, could kind of tell there's something going on there.
Interesting. Did she have obesity? Did she have a weight problem?
Not particularly. No.
She just could see it maybe as potentially a problem.
Yeah. And I grew up with a mom. My mom was abusive, but she would comment on my body a lot. Just like never great. Like I have this memory of going into the mall in like the 90s and her going up to the sales associate and being like, "Well, this is what we're working with." Kind of like in a negative. I wasn't even overweight. Actually, like my body was amazing. And even if it wasn't, that's still not a way to talk about someone.
No,
but a lot of people have those memories where it just sticks with you.
It's amazing how those things stay in our mind, right? And we replay them, and those traumas from growing up. So, yeah, that's. Let's share some pictures of Sabina. Tell us about these, Sabina.
So, actually, my takeaway, because I've never shown my before pictures ever.
Okay.
Is that I kind of knew how to dress to hide the weight well. That's my takeaway. We're like, oh, I was actually doing a great job there. So at my heaviest, I never quite got on the scale, but I think I was over 220. And
how tall are you?
I'm 5'5" and a half.
5'5". Oh, all right.
Yeah. You can't forget the half.
Okay.
And I think so when my dad was sick in 2021, I gained all the weight back. 2022 came, I was just maintaining the weight I had gained. And then what was interesting, in 2023, I was engaged. It was like January 2023, I was engaged and I got a medical diagnosis of idiosyncratic intracranial hypertension. And that is very common somewhat common for people who are overweight. And what it is it's too much cerebral spinal fluid, and it's like putting pressure on your brain, and it causes migraines. In my case, it causes like motion sickness and vertigo and like dizziness. And in hindsight, I think it was something I'd had for a long time. And I maybe also had other types of migraines on top of that. But I was the kind of person who was like, yeah, I get headaches. Yeah, I get really bad motion sickness that lasts days, but I'm not going to do anything about it, right? I'm just going to suffer because I'm not the type of person who seeks out medication for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And so it was January 2023, and I was like, okay, I'm getting married later this year. The pandemic is over. I need to put myself back out there, because when I would gain weight, I just wouldn't put photos on social media. I would just like pretend it's not happening. And I was like, I've never been more motivated to lose weight. So for 5 months, I dieted and exercised. I couldn't do keto anymore because I was on a medication that prevented me from doing keto.
Oh.
And which was to treat the intracranial hypertension. And the other motivation is when you have that diagnosis, what happens is that it will put strain on your ocular nerve, because your eye is part of your brain. It's like attached to your brain. And what happened is, I think I read one stat that it was like anywhere from 25 to 40% of people who have that diagnosis will have vision loss. Like it can literally snap your optic nerve and you will go blind.
Oh, completely lost.
You can go completely blind, or you can have other vision loss. So I was like, I really need to lose this weight.
Yeah.
I was like, I know how to do this. I counted every single calorie. I did everything. I lost 10 pounds the first month. And after that, it was like, I couldn't lose anymore over months. And I was like, okay, something's changed with my body. It was never easy to lose weight.
Yeah.
But it's not working the way I expected it to. And I think my metabolic health had just become more complicated and decline. It could have been age.
Could have been the medication.
Yeah, it could have been the medication. We don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, the medication I'm on helps you lose weight. It's a mild appetite suppressant.
Okay.
But it wasn't doing anything. So in January, I'd done all the research on GLP-1s. And I was like, hey, I'm willing to take this medication, but I'm sure a lot of viewers do this, but I'm going to try first to do it on my own.
Sure.
To see if I need it, right? So after 5 months, I was like, okay, yeah, I want to look better for my wedding. I don't want to go blind. I'm going to lose this medication. And I started on name brand Wegovy, and then I moved to compounded semaglutide. My insurance never covered it. I pretty quickly, in the first few months, and what I'm proud of, I kind of know what my body is like at different weights. And I had a wedding coming. So I was like, how do I shop? I didn't actually wear a traditional wedding dress, but I was like, how do I shop for something to wear to my wedding when I'm trying to rapidly lose weight?
Right. What size am I going to be by then? Yeah.
What size am I going to be? Obviously, I'm going to have to have something tailored. What's easier to get tailored? What timeline do I get something tailored at? And I put together a spreadsheet because I guess I have the data background through my video game competition. And I was like literally within a pound of my estimated weight loss for my wedding. Yeah. And I was like, nailed it. I know. I predicted. And what I did to do that is I went on TikTok and social media and I looked at a lot of other people's weight loss journey on this medication. And then I looked at like, what do I think? Because I'm a yo-yoer, how fast do I think I will lose? And I got it within a pound.
What was your average weight loss?
It averaged out to about 1 pound a week. But what was interesting is when I was losing the natural way, I would get on the scale every day. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but I would. And I was generally losing weight every day when I would do the natural way. And on a GLP-1, it was a lot less consistent. Like it was consistent in aggregate, but I would have periods where I kind of wouldn't lose for most of a month. And then like one day I would lose like 3 pounds. I'd be
whoosh effect. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, that's weird, but whatever, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And so for my wedding in September, I was on 0.5 semaglutide. I had tried going up to 0.75 and I could not tolerate it. I get side effects, right? And so I stayed on 0.5. And then after I'd lost 30 pounds, which got me about half of the way there. And then I stayed on it because I couldn't tolerate going up. This is before Zepbound was FDA approved. And so there was some talk, but Tirzepatide wasn't widely available yet through compounding. And I stayed on it and it was like, I was stalled. I could maybe lose a little weight if I tried really, really hard and was basically dieting and exercising. And I know for some people on these medications, that's what their journey looks like the entire time. And then, from September to December 2023, I was basically stalled. And my goal going in was not to lose as fast as possible, other than maybe a little bit for my wedding. But after that, I was like, I want to lose slow because I want to have good metabolic health. The goal isn't to go as fast as possible. And then around January, I switched to Tirzepatide. And that was so much faster. I had way fewer side effects. Like on 0.5 of semaglutide, it was not uncommon for me to throw up once a month. When I went to 0.75, I threw up like 3 times the first week I took it. And I was like, I can't tolerate this.
That's no good. Yeah.
Like way too much. So I totally get how for some people, when they do compounded, they do in between doses because I can see the need for it.
Yeah.
And then when I moved over to Tirzepatide, I started on 5. I went up to 7.5. Then I went up to 10. And then it was like, I stopped. I was like, I'm basically at my goal weight. And I stopped before I hit, my goal weight was like the line between overweight and normal BMI. And I stopped before I hit that. Because I didn't want to go down to the bottom size of normal BMI. I've been on maintenance kind of since then. It's been almost a year and a quarter, year and a half, roughly, on maintenance, still taking Tirzepatide. And I actually take a 6, so an in-between dose.
Okay, that's interesting. Every 7 days, or did you spread it out?
I split it sometimes.
Do you split it like Sunday, Wednesday split? Or
Sunday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And what made me split it was interesting is I used a continuous glucose monitor. Just because I'm a nerd, I like data. Like I have an Apple Watch, I have an Oura Ring. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I use a continuous glucose monitor, and Tirzepatide has a half-life of 7 days. And what I noticed was days 5, 6, 7, I was much more likely to overeat.
Yeah.
I was much more likely to be hangry. And I was also just more distracted. I was less productive. I also noticed that I would have a nightmare in the middle of the night and I would have a glucose spike. And that's actually weird, I think, because most people, their glucose stabilizes and goes to kind of one of its lower points in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And so I split my dose, and then my glucose was a lot more stable. I wasn't as likely to overeat near the end of the week. And I felt more productive and more focused at work too. So
that's interesting. Well, and the focus part, people forget about that, I think, because when the food noise quiets, I'm so much more productive at my job, at what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And when it turns back on, I'm like, I got to go find a snack in the pantry, and I'm all over the place. So did you do like 3 milligrams on Monday and 3 on Wednesday? Yeah. And you just repeat. So do you have an app or anything that tracks the level of medication in your body?
I used that for like 2 weeks, and honestly, I stopped because it was too much work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So by doing that, by splitting it, it just keeps you more leveled out.
Yeah. If you graph out the half-life, it is like a more consistent, constant dose if you do 2 rather than 1.
Yeah, interesting.
And I've dabbled between the 2. Like sometimes, like if I was going on a trip and I was like, I could kind of not take it, I'll do like a 7-day dose.
Yeah.
Right. Just because I just don't want to bother bringing the medication.
Taking it with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Do you think you'll change your dose, or is this the dose you plan to stay on like long term?
Most likely, yeah, it's working for me. So unless something changes, I don't really think I'll change it.
Yeah, interesting. And I'm curious, do you get your medication through your Empower pharmacy there in Texas now?
I have, and actually I think the last order was from Empower. But honestly, I try to change telehealth because I run a tool that helps you compare telehealth companies. I try to change every single month.
Okay.
It's secret shop and be like, because sometimes telehealth companies will tell us they're doing something, and we'll get people to secret shop around the United States. And just be like, are you lying to me?
Are you really doing that?
Yeah, are you really lying to me? And then for me, I also want to know, what are the features that you offer? And so there's what telehealth companies tell us, and then we also try to actually try them out.
Yeah.
We know it's not just marketing, because people might be like more or less forthcoming, or better or worse at selling things. And so we found out things like nutrition plan as a PDF, right?
Yeah. Have you found that with the different compounding pharmacies, they compound them with different things. So like I get Tirzepatide compounded with niacinamide. I've also had it compounded with like glycine. Do you have any results or any data on which one might be the best for somebody to start off with? I don't
know, honestly. I wish people had more data on this.
Yeah.
I think when I talk to providers, because I've talked to a bunch of them when I've been secret shopping, a lot of them, it's like learning about your medical history. And then particularly if you're on the medication, you have certain side effects, then they might try to get you to certain additives, some over others, because with this side effect, this additive might actually be helpful with that. So some of it is like low energy, or if you have nausea, that might influence what they recommend for you. But it's usually always within the scope of like your full medical history and like everything else you have going on, because there's reasons why you may want one additive over another.
So does your tool, will it tell me which pharmacies are using which additives?
It does some of that, but increasingly what we found, some pharmacies, they're like, we just do this one thing. And then some providers might focus on one additive or two additives. But when I talk to most providers, they're all in the process of being able to offer 5 to 10 different additives.
Well, they want to do that. Say they're personalizing it. And so we've had a couple of people who have been allergic to one of the additives or the other, and they were like, I need a different pharmacy. Do you know who doesn't do this? And I'm like, I don't know.
I think it goes back to your point of it's really important to tell your provider, your online telehealth provider, like all your side effects, any allergies, any things like that, so they can personalize your dose, because that's the whole point of it, right? So make sure you're telling your provider those details.
Well, so what was the and by the way, if you're watching, no, Sabina is not a sponsor. We're not being paid to talk about GLP Winner. We just think it's cool.
We just think it's cool. Yeah.
So what was the aha moment that you went from GLP-1 user to starting a business related to GLP-1s?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, part of it is genuinely some of the bigger mission is that I genuinely care about getting people on this medication faster in a safe and more affordable way. And so I don't always say this to people, but I guess I'll tell you guys.
Nobody else is watching it.
Nobody else. This is our secret, right? I mean, I kind of want to drive the price down. Right?
We kind of want to drive the price down.
I kind of want to drive the price down. I know my telehealth company part like that we have listed. They don't want to hear that, but like I want to pressure all of the telehealth companies to do better in every way they can. I don't like it when they do 12-month contracts. I don't like it when they have deceptive pricing or deceptive features. And I think if we can make the medication more affordable in a safe way, it is net positive for all of us.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, like you said, are very almost secretive with their pricing. And that's something I noticed back when I started in 2023, because I had been going to Weight Watchers for years. I said, let me try their clinic or whatever. Well, I had to put in all this information, and I'm like, I just want to get to the price. And I think they even wanted my credit card before I could even get to the price. And I'm like, I don't like that. So I found another place, but I don't know why the price has to be kept so secret, and they have to have your information first. I don't know any other business model that works like that.
Exactly. And the thing is like sometimes they say it's because, these are prescriptions and we don't know what you're going to be prescribed. And like, that's between you and your doctor. And it's like, okay, but practically, if we're paying hundreds of dollars a month, most people need to know and budget around that. They can't just suddenly take on like a $200, $300 expense and not care. Like we need a plan for that.
It's a shady marketing technique. The more they get you interacting with them, the more likely they are to close. It's like when you go to the car dealership and he writes down a number and he says, if I can get it to this price, will you buy it? You go, yeah. And he says, initial this. It's not a contract. It's just him. It's that psychological game he's playing. They're all doing the same thing.
And then once they have your email address, they're going to email you from now to the end of time. I still get emails from Weight Watchers saying, try our new lower price of Wegovy or Zepbound. I'm like, you're not giving, that's the price it is. Like, you're not providing, you're not fooling me. You know what I mean? But they keep getting the emails over and over. So.
Yeah. And they'll be like, hey, you're qualified, or like, hey, we have a sale, and you'll get texts and emails until the end of time.
Yeah. Until the end of time for sure. So, I like the idea, because people ask us all the time, like, which one's the best priced? Which one can I find that doesn't compound with XYZ? And like, I don't know. So just go over to GLP Winner and maybe you can find what works for you there. So it's a great service.
Yeah.
So going back to food, because you obviously were very focused, right? As most of us were in keto. So what are you eating now?
Oh, some of my go-to foods, I do kefir or kefir, like
Yeah.
yogurt drink.
Old school, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 9 grams of protein in a cup. And I like to mix chia seeds in it because then I get like 5 grams of fiber. And I will have that in the morning to supplement a meal. I'm also obsessed with bone broth.
Oh.
Because the bone broth I get is also 9 grams of protein in a cup. For like,
Just to sip on it.
yeah, I have zero interest in coffee anymore almost. Like I still like the flavor of coffee. But what I found out, I don't crave it anymore. What I found out is that caffeine is a migraine trigger for me.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I started on a GLP-1, I was instantly like, I don't need coffee anymore. I'll just take a swig, like a little swig every day to just get the day started. And now it's like, I don't need it. And honestly, on a GLP-1, I wake up and I'm more awake when I wake up. Which is weird.
Interesting.
It's sometimes annoying because if I wake up anytime from like 5 to 7 a.m. at all, just in bed, I won't be able to go back to sleep. I'm like, I'm ready. So.
Yeah. Well, we wake up early, but I don't know if that's a function of age
old.
or,
Yeah.
or what. But were you able to get off of your medication for your the brain
hypertension? Okay, so here's a story. I have medication, acetazolamide, gives you an 11x increased chance of getting kidney stones, and I got a kidney stone on it.
Oh, ouch.
So I had to get off of it. And then I got on to another medication, topiramate, which sometimes gets prescribed for weight loss. And it gave me really depressed, like suicidal thoughts.
Oh, no.
And I only took it for 10 days. And it also does something with people's ability to find words. So I'd been learning Spanish. I forgot all the Spanish I'd been learning over the last year.
Oh, my God.
And like I still had some baseline Spanish that I've had for most of my life. But yeah, and now I'm on Emgality, which is a migraine medication. It's another Lilly drug. It comes in, an autoinjector that looks just like Zepbound. And I take that injection once a month. But it was a long journey of like step therapy with my insurance company to get on it. And now I'm not sure if I have IIH because one neurologist said I did. I got a lumbar puncture. I had high pressure in my cerebral spinal fluid. And I will tell you, like, a lot of people don't like lumbar punctures. The lumbar puncture made me feel amazing. Like I've never had anything. Like that's to be crass, but like I've never had an orgasm that made me feel better than a lumbar puncture. And that's
Maybe
specific.
The pressure just got.
Yeah, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, please, like even when the needle went, I felt like a pressure release, and I was like, "Please take more cerebral spinal fluid. Like, take as much as you want." But actually, like GLP-1 studies have shown they reduce cerebral spinal fluid, and they're most likely eventually going to be FDA approved for IIH or intracranial.
Wow, that's such a. I wonder if my sister has that, but she has
She has a lot of stuff.
migraines and
It's very
vertigo
possible.
and.
Yeah, it's really common, particularly in women of fertile age who are overweight. Like that is almost considered one of the diagnostic criteria.
Although she's never been overweight. She's the skinny sister. I've always been the heavy sister. So
Yeah. Well, I think I still have it, even though I'm much
But you're
closer to
overweight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I still have issues with it.
it's really that's something I didn't know about before. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you about. Do you do any kind of exercising?
I do, although I feel like a liar saying that because I haven't in the last 2 weeks because I traveled and I've been too busy. So I was doing Legree, which is like a hip it's like a pickleball level hip of exercising.
Okay.
It's like Pilates, meaning you're on a Pilates machine, but it's like more resistance training.
Oh,
Yeah. And then about 2 months ago, I also started integrating normal weightlifting and resistance training to try to improve my weight because I got a DEXA scan and it said that I was 36% body fat.
Oh, I saw this TikTok. You were like losing your mind over this Texas.
Yeah, I was like this. I thought I was doing well, and like 36% body fat sent me reeling. And I do like lifting weights. I used to lift weights, and so I started again. and I'm enjoying it, honestly.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
did you went back and did a second DEXA scan?
I did. And I'd lost 0.2 pounds of fat and I'd gained 1.3 pounds of muscle in that time period.
That's good. That's going in the right direction there for muscle gain. So yeah. Sometimes it's hard, when you gain the muscle, you might see the scale go up a little bit, and that's sometimes hard to.
Yeah, technically between DEXA scans, I gained a pound, but honestly, I don't care about a pound.
Yeah.
I'm 5'5". I'm like 154 to 157. Kind of that's the range I'm in. Yeah. Which technically makes me overweight, and I don't care.
Well, it's just about where you feel the best, right? Like what you can maintain, where you can live your life, and it's really just a personal choice with you and your healthcare provider.
Yeah. For me, I debated, should I increase my dose after I got my DEXA scan? Should I try to lose like another 5 or 10 pounds and just be like in the high end of the normal range? And I haven't yet. I've debated it still, but when I lost the weight on keto and kept it off for 5 years, I started exercising every single day. And I shockingly got to a place where I really liked exercise. I wouldn't say I'm back there right now. Yeah. I feel very unfit, but I was in the best shape of my life and I was exercising a bunch. And at a certain point, I felt like it was too much. Like I was exercising every single day. I was eating like 1,200 calories a day to try to maintain the weight loss. I got to a point where I was just so tired and fatigued. Yeah. And I think even though I was kind of in the middle of the normal BMI, I was at 140-ish. When I got that low, I felt like honestly kind of weak. And like I couldn't actually, like my fitness wasn't improving. I was just treading water.
Was that when you were on keto too?
Yeah, that was when I was on keto and I was like exercising every day. And
yeah, you had no carbs.
You had no nutrition.
Exactly.
Right? People are like, why am I so tired? I'm like, are you eating any carbs? Because your body needs them. So
yeah, and my perspective has always been like, especially for people who have obesity, to lose the weight naturally like that, I feel like you almost give yourself an eating disorder.
Oh yeah.
You have to be obsessed with food. You have to like often count every calorie, and then you're eating so little. Yeah. That it's like, of course you're just obsessive, and that doesn't seem that healthy either. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
Well, so what is the difference in your life now? Because now you're at a weight you're happy with, you're taking a GLP-1, and it sounds like you're developing something that's sustainable. How would you compare that to that keto?
Oh, not even compare. Like, because I mean, if the reason why I quit keto was I couldn't hang out with friends at all. Like I would turn down every social invitation I got. I wouldn't go to a bar. Now it's so much healthier. First of all, I don't really drink. I maybe have like half a cocktail every 3 months. I think that's better for my health. And it's that I have no desire, and it's much easier to make healthy choices. But even if I go out, I have a burger and fries, I have pizza, first of all, I might not finish it. I'm going to eat less. I'm much less likely to severely overeat when I'm in those situations, which was not the case before.
Yeah.
And it feels like cheat meals are not completely getting me off course.
Interesting. You're not eating that much. So you're still, the medication is still helping you with a smaller portion.
Yeah. And well, generally though,
you're not eating.
Generally I feel like I could go to any restaurant and order whatever I feel like, and maybe it'll take some to go.
Right.
But I don't feel at risk of completely gaining back all the weight.
Yeah. I mean, I used to sit in restaurants and try to calculate the Weight Watchers points and things and the calories and things and look at the menu and think, which is the smallest calories on this menu? And you make yourself crazy. And now I just pick, it really kind of doesn't matter because I'm only probably going to eat half of it anyway and bring half of it home. So, or maybe we split something, and it's just so much easier, and it's just freeing. I feel like to live this way.
It is. Yeah. It's so much less constant stress.
Yeah.
And then I've noticed other mental benefits, right? Like a lot of people say they have lower anxiety. Like some people have more anxiety, but some people say they have lower anxiety. And I didn't consider myself an anxious person, right? But I would ruminate. I would be like, that thing someone did 5 years ago, I'm still pissed about it. That was like that was so messed up. Like, how could they do that? I'm still mad. And it was literally like week 1 on this medication, I stopped ruminating about those things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And if I think about like something that happened 3 years ago that pissed me off, like I still feel the same way about the situation where I don't like what happened.
Okay.
But I'm not back there emotionally anymore. And I'm a lot more present with my emotions and less worried about things that are not relevant.
I think it's really interesting, the GIP, how it works on your brain, right? Because we know it stops addiction cycles, like people stop drinking, stop online shopping, you stopped replaying those events over and over. So those things that kind of we were doing all the time, it's just kind of and it's really interesting. I've never heard anyone explain it about going over thoughts again and again, but I can see where that would definitely be helpful for sure.
Well, it made me wonder, is anxiety an addiction to rumination?
Anxiety. So yeah, I guess so. I mean, I feel like I used to be very anxious when I would approach mealtime. Like, when am I going to eat? How much am I going to eat? What do I get to eat? So I would have anxiousness around that, and I don't have that as much anymore. If I've waited too long to eat, sometimes now that might come back. But that's a really interesting. It just kind of takes that.
Yeah. Away. I had that too, and especially if you travel or if you're like in a situation that's out of your normal routine, and you're like, but there's no plan for dinner.
Right.
You start freaking out and you start being like you get hangry, you get grumpy, you're like, what's the plan? Can we talk about it? Like I needed to know where every meal was coming from.
Oh yeah. When I would travel for work, I always kept snacks with me, like protein bars, granola bars, bags of almonds. Like I had to have snacks with me at all times, because if something happened and I was hungry and I couldn't eat, like that would just be the end of the world, right? So I would always travel with quite a large supply of food.
Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting, I probably should have mentioned, was in my early 20s, I had a period in my life where I had food insecurity.
Okay.
Right? Because I didn't have very much money. And I think that is one of the things that, I mean, I always had a complex relationship with food, but I think that changed my relationship with food to be a lot more anxious about it and fraught, and a lot more about survival. And it was really interesting when the pandemic happened and we were in like the first month or two where everyone didn't know what was happening. We were freaking out. I bought way too much food. Like I stockpiled because I was like,
because you had
the thing.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like I need to eat this now. I need to get this now because I might not be able to later. I've got to finish everything that's in front of me, because who knows when I'll be able to eat again or I'll be able to get food again. That's a very terrifying, to be in that situation. I totally get it.
Yeah, and I was raised by two parents who both had food insecurity growing up. Like my dad, if I were to peel potatoes, he'd be like, you gotta peel really tight because that's more potato that you get to eat.
Oh goodness, yeah.
You know? And I was like, okay, Dad.
Well, but it speaks to, the complex and chronic nature of obesity. And so many people want to just say, you ate too much, that's why you're fat. And the reality is, there's so many different things that cause people to end up where they end up and impact your disease. And you've just given us 3 or 4 different things that most people don't talk about, but they're real, right?
I met someone at the conference where we met at the OAC conference, and he described growing up with food insecurity, and his parents or someone would always tell him, "Oh, you're so greedy. Why do you take so much food? You're being greedy. Like save some for other people." And I mean, now he's a grown man, and that still runs through his brain. Like I'm greedy. I need to not eat so much, and it's just those cycles that we get into when we're younger. It's hard to distance from
Or like I've had friends who come from large families where there's also food insecurity, and they're like, I'm going to eat as much as I can, as fast as I can, because that means I got to eat more, right? And that behavior carried over to adulthood.
I had 7 brothers and sisters, and there was always food. It wasn't that, I mean, we didn't go without, but my parents were working class. But if you didn't get what you wanted the first pass, it wasn't going to be there again.
So it was eat it now while it's here.
There was no...
Who can grab it the quickest, right? Of all those kids. Yeah.
It just was what it was. You know. Well, so I love your TikTok and what you're doing. And you're never afraid to say the hard thing, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your TikTok and how you approach that.
So I actually think we do really similar content, right? I just talk faster. I cut it tightly because I'm on TikTok. So a lot of my TikTok content, it's about things happening in the news, usually related to accessibility. Mm-hmm. So for example, I talked about, I think you also did a video on it, the court case where Texas is suing Eli Lilly, right? I also did a bunch of stuff on the compounding shortage. I went to Fort Worth to see the OFA versus FDA case, which is the compounding pharmacies suing the FDA. And I'm debating going in 2 weeks to see the Mochi hearing in San Francisco.
Ooh.
because I honestly, like, I want to be there. I want to get any extra info I can get, because in this community, when this medication changes your life, people get really anxious about the idea of, is it going to go away? Am I going to lose access? If compounding completely went away, a lot of people would lose access. And compounding is already still too expensive, still not accessible enough for people. And so it makes sense that people are obsessed with that. And to me, I'm obsessed with it too, right? I'm obsessed with it too, not only because it's part of, this tool that I've built that helps people compare providers, but I genuinely want for this to become more accessible in any way that we can. And I'm optimistic. I think this year and next year are going to be the worst years for accessibility. And I'm hopeful that after that, it will start to get better as we get new medications on the market. I think there will be like more accessible pricing, Ozempic going generic in Canada. It's my thought that's going to be the case. Right now, what we're seeing is a lot of, because it's mostly 503A compounding pharmacies doing compounding. Yeah. Genuinely, a lot of people are talking about how we actually don't have the capacity for the demand for compounded medication. So I've seen a trend, and maybe people watching have seen this trend, where it used to be like you would get your compounded medication almost like Amazon Prime, 2-3 days, pretty quickly. And now some people are waiting 3 weeks.
Yeah. It really just kind of varies. And I don't really know why. Sometimes
it's capacity of the 503A pharmacies.
Yeah.
Some of it is, we'll see compounding pharmacies sometimes shut down or ramp up, or too many orders. So the other thing that happens is people are waiting 3 weeks on an order. It's been put to a compounding pharmacy, and that compounding pharmacy is overburdened, and they're not communicating about their capacity because they don't want to lose that prescription.
They don't want to lose that order. Yeah. The telehealth could send it to somewhere else. They just don't know what's going on. I mean, I've called the compounding pharmacy directly and where's my order, guys? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. And then, the next day it just ships after it sat there for 10 days. So it's hard to say what's happening there.
Well, cool. Sabina, if you had to give a piece of advice for somebody out there thinking about doing GLP-1s, what would it be?
Oh, well, first of all, most people wish they had done it sooner.
Right.
Most people wish that they hadn't waited. And that's true for me too. But I would say drink a lot of water. And also, I got a lot of side effects. A lot of people get a lot of side effects. Just know that there are a lot of strategies and things you can do to help with side effects if you get them. And either find community and talk about that, or ask your doctor. But just know that if you're having bad side effects, it doesn't mean that you can't take the medication, as long as they aren't serious side effects.
Yeah. Gotcha. Great. So your worst side effect, was it the nausea, or what is it now?
Nausea, I still get a lot of nausea. Like I am a canary for nausea, but I think part of that is because of my either migraines or IH, I'm just way more prone to nausea. So if I do anything like ride in a car and get car sickness, I will have motion sickness for a week.
Oh, that's not good.
Which is like very, very uncommon. So there's that as a baseline. And then I would say, I think GLP-1s have improved my sense of smell. And before, if I smelled something bad or weird, like I could gag, but I'm not going to throw up. No, I could totally throw up. I could totally throw up if I smelled something really gross.
Wow. I've not heard that side effect before. That's really interesting. Okay. Well, goodness.
Well, so tell everybody how to find you on TikTok and give us your web address and give us all this stuff so we make sure that we can find you.
So it's glpwinner.com for the tool. And then my TikTok on all socials, I'm Lollipop. I also have started uploading some of my TikToks onto YouTube, and I might do like 1 or 2 long YouTube videos. If they do well, I might do more. And on Instagram, I'm Lollipops with an S, but it's LAWLIEPOP. It's spelled weird. It's my...
And I'll drop them in our description so we make sure that people can get them. I just want to make sure they can get out to you. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sabina. It's been a fabulous conversation. It was wonderful to meet you in Washington. We met so many cool TikTok people. So we've been interviewing and getting them all. And are you coming to Obesity Week in Atlanta?
I think that I am. I haven't bought a ticket or booked yet, but I think that I'm most likely going to, because you know who I noticed. Yeah, I know you guys are going to be there. You're going to have a booth. You have a meetup. I noticed that they're going to have Lottie, who is the woman at Novo Nordisk who invented semaglutide.
Yeah, she's
and I've
there.
seen her talk. Yeah, I've seen her talk before, but she's giving a keynote. I'm like, I'm extra excited.
I'm trying to get an interview with her. So, because that's really the goal for us, is to film content. And the woman who did it first is fabulous. Yes, please sit down with me, please.
Yes. I hope you get that interview, because I've seen her talk before, and she's just really passionate, honestly, and really optimistic.
Well, we would love to see you in Atlanta as well. Well, very good. Well, you guys make sure you go out and follow Sabina on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all the channels. Check out her website, GLP Winner. And it looks like there's a lot of great opportunities for that to help you guys out.
Help me out. I'm gonna get on there right away.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sabina. Make sure you like and subscribe to The Downsized. You can also check out our website at thedownsized.org, where we've got links to all kinds of things, our Amazon store, our cruise that's coming up. Sabina, you need to come with us on the cruise.
I'm too scared because
the nausea thing might be a problem for her.
The nausea and motion sickness, but I will be at the Downsized meetup for Obesity Week for sure.
Awesome. Her spouse really wants to come, so.
My spouse.
We had a whole conversation.
Get them working on it. Yeah.
But I'm too scared. I'm too scared to be stuck on a boat with motion sickness. But
fair enough.
Valid. That's valid.
That's just me. That's just me. But it sounds fun. I wish I could go and it would be no big deal. But I'll be at the meetup for Obesity Week.
That'd be awesome.
Good. All right.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for joining us. All right. So that's it for this week's Downsized Dish. My name is Christopher Durham.
I'm Laraine Durham.
We're The Downsized. We'll see you next time.